We're gonna move to the next question. We're on question 142 out of 199. So we have about what 50 like questions roughly left.
Okay.
Oh, 50. Bibliotherapy.
Something said that, but
Yeah, I didn't pick that one either. Um, so let me look it up. So bibliotherapy is a new use of books or writings pertaining to self-improvement. So like for example, if you're giving a client like homework and you having them read something about like what you guys working on in an intervention. So
hmm
say like if you want to work on anger management, you let them know like, oh, these are the different kinds of angers like you
hmm
can experience. You're giving them education to self improvement. So it's any
okay,
kind of book that you use for self improvement. So you think
okay,
of any guide to rational living or any kind of guide, just know it's bibliotherapy.
okay. Mm.
I know, right?
So what was that?
It was masturbation. Now let's read about that. Should
Masturbation?
yeah,
Not masturbate, but masturbation.
masturbation. I don't know what I'm thinking. Period.
Okay.
But it's yes, masturbation. I was thinking at the B.
I
So
didn't even know what that
masturbation.
meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah. When a preference becomes a dogmatic matter or should, then you can bet that the client is in for a case of emotional disturbance. So let me see why I said choice A. So masturbation. Okay, so Ellis, also known for his work in sexology, humorously insisted that masturbation is more pernicious than masturbation. So let's look up this because it's not clear as to why
hmm
that is the choice. So let me get that information. Master masturbation. Have you heard the term before?
No. Have you?
No, I have not heard about that before. That was new. I mean, I've seen it on here, but I haven't seen it oftenly used. So let me look and see here. Okay. All right. Okay, so they say Ellis, he coined the term masturbation. It's a toxic tendency to think we must have something and usually falls into three categories. You must treat me. So when you think of masturbation, you think of must,
Okay.
right? You must treat me reasonably. You must do well in whatever I'm doing. It's always you must. The word must.
So
So
like should, could,
should.
you ought to be doing it. Okay.
Mhm,
Must.
must. And you think of masturbation.
Okay.
Yeah. Right?
I'm gonna try this one. Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to tell me why you picked that answer for D?
It was I remember just in class, we were talking about it's a shade of cognitive thinking or whatever, and a client says a loss in job is the most terrible. It's like they're feeling terrible about themselves. I can't see the bottom of it, but it's catastrophic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I
It's
don't know
like,
how I was. I just remember visualizing it from this piece of paper we had in notes in class.
yep. So yeah, you said it's catastrophizing. So when you think of something, you think it's like the worst thing in the world.
Right,
It can't get no worse than that, right? Like
right,
the client says, "I lost my job, and it's the most terrible thing in the world." And then you be like, you can tell the client, "Well, do you think that's true? Like, is it the worst thing in the world?" And
right,
then you kind of change their frame, like it's not the worst, and sometimes they might be like, "It's not the worst thing in the world," but still, like then you
right.
change the narrative of that, and then that's when you can start helping that person reframe those thoughts. So it's
That's a
usually
part of
with
CBT.
yes. So it's like thought reframing.
Okay.
It's also used for people who have like generalized anxiety or anxiety
Yeah.
disorders. They often like feel like everything is just like the worst. So that just helps increase their anxiety
Okay.
when things happen. All right.
Oh, I didn't get that next question.
Huh?
My screen froze. Hold up. Okay, now it's on there. Okay. You gave the answer to that one, huh?
Yeah, right. It reminds you of when we just talked about what was bibliotherapy, and we said bibliotherapy is like self help, self improvement books that's giving. And like we said, it's a side of homework. Yep. You just think of too like bibliography homework.
Right.
Right.
Ah,
Got it?
no.
Yeah, I mean I got it, but I remember just saying it. So Ellis feels that irrational thinking at point B is a core of emotional disturbance. Let's see. I'm trying to see where is that in here. Um, Ellis noted that at a very early age, he decided his mother wasn't eligible for any prizes of mental health. While more analytically inclined therapists might have viewed Ellis' childhood as traumatic, Ellis merely told himself that his mother was a fallible human being. He did not have to be disturbed by her behavior. Ellis believed you can be happy even if you are a survivor of numerous childhood traumas. For exam purpose, please keep in mind that Ellis, Glasser, and behaviorists put little stock in the notion of transference. So let's look up irrational B thinking to get an idea of exactly what irrational B thinking is. Because the book is not really clear. Irrational B thinking, and this is with Ellis. The role of a counselor is to dispute irrational beliefs. Um, disturb disputing has three parts: detecting, discriminating, and debating irrational beliefs. So the irrational thinking at point B is just when you as a therapist is recognizing, okay, the child had trauma, but does that make you who you are today? So you're trying to like discern between identifying what those irrational beliefs are, discriminating, are those beliefs actually true to you, and are you over catastrophizing, or can you heal from that? And then debating irrational, additional irrational ideas. It can be kind of confusing because pretty much you're just trying to do what's called thought challenging. I don't know if you've ever heard of thought challenging before. Have you heard of that term before?
No.
Okay, so thought challenging is often used with um anxieties, or like, oh my god, when people see me, they're gonna think I'm like the craziest person in the world. And then then you have them like record them on like a phone or something, like doing a presentation where they feel like people are gonna see them as crazy, and then you show them how they look, and then you ask them, well, do you think you look crazy? And they're like,
Right.
actually, no, I don't. Right. So you kind of, the B is for belief. So it's challenging the irrational belief.
Okay.
So it's three parts. It's A, B, C. A is the activating event. So it's the and B is belief, and C is consequence. So it's
Okay.
challenging the ABC thinking.
I figured that.
Okay. Let me let someone in. Waiting in the lobby. All right. I thought someone was waiting in the lobby. Okay. Hey, Angeline.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. We had just started on the first couple of questions.
Okay.
Let me give you the code. When you're ready, I can tell you what it is.
Okay, let me go back up because I thought it was at 512.
Yeah, it's the 512-271.
Okay, I thought I joined. It was on Ellis Bills that blank is at
Oh,
the
okay.
close of my.
Oh, I see you. I didn't know you had already checked in. Okay, cool. So we were just talking about how this was the answer. So we just said Elias feels that, and the correct answer is irrational thinking at point B is at the core of emotional disturbance, and B stands for belief, and it's also
Okay.
challenging the ABC thinking.
Okay.
Um, A is activating event, B is belief, and C is consequence.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. We all got that right. And like I said before, it's thought challenging, um, challenging those irrational beliefs and seeing if it's really as bad as you think it is. Um, so yes, it is refuting irrational ideas and replacing them with rational ones. All right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that was a little hard. Um,
Yeah.
so only humans think in declarations, internal sentences that can cause or ward off emotional discord. Let's look at choice D. Let me see an explanation. Um, Let's see. According to Ellis, most therapies can be faulted for not emphasizing irrational beliefs at point B. Such theories wrongly assert that A causes C. Choice D reveals that the gist of REBT. Who remembers what REBT means?
The
Rational, emotive.
mhm, behavioral something.
Therapy, yes. So, when you have like a new study with like an animal, like Ellis believes that it's not as complex as the human mind. And so when you're having like these new kind of psychotherapy studies, it's not this. It doesn't resemble the same thing as the human mind, and it's not able to be rational as a human mind can be. Um, Let me see, and that's when he indicates that it could be faulty. Like when he says most therapies can be faulted for not emphasizing irrational beliefs at point B. So how could you measure an animal's beliefs? You know what I
Okay.
mean? That's complicated. More so than you can do that with another, like a human being with a more complex mind who's able to verbally express what those beliefs are. So he doesn't believe in any kind of animal studies. All right.
I was looking at that one too.
Mhm.
This is
Internal
in
verbal internal verbalizations are to REBT as blank are
Pictures.
glasses. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A matter of semantics, perhaps. Glasser insists that behavior is internally motivated and we choose our actions.
mhm.
Yep.
I don't remember Max B. C. Max B. Jr.
Mm-mm.
That name is not familiar to me.
So try to choose something that you in the options that you saw before and eliminate the ones that doesn't seem to make sense.
Yep.
Was it RBT?
Mm-hmm. All right, let's look at RBT. Mossy is the father of RBT, rational behavior therapy, which is similar to REBT, but emphasizes a written self analysis. Maltzy's technique is said to work well for multicultural counseling and group therapy. That's all you need to remember. So, RBT is through Maltzy, and it's working with those in multicultural, diverse dynamics in counseling and group therapy. So when you think of multi, you think of RBT, multicultural counseling and group therapy.
So I
Okay.
have to look him up too, because I just don't know why he's not coming to me.
So yeah, multi. I haven't seen him. Like I haven't seen that name before, except for in this book. Um, and I think because he's not a commonly used like a popular theorist.
Right.
So if they're not popular, we don't often hear about those people.
Yeah, which is kind of hard because then like they want you to know all this information, but then you get all these new people and theories that you got to really hunker down on and try to focus on as
Right.
well.
Right. That's why I suggest doing keywords and not trying to like review all that's about multi. Just
Hmm.
look at, okay, he works. If you think of multi, you think multicultural.
Right.
Then you think RBT.
Mhm.
And then you think group counseling, group therapy. So you just try to use word associations with each person so that when you do see the correct answer, you'll know, oh, multi is multicultural, like that'll be one of, multicultural theorists. It won't be psychoanalytical, it won't be Adler, it won't be any of those because you know exactly who that is. So before you start trying to remember all that stuff, just think of those keywords.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Oh man, I didn't
I
have
know
it.
it said time's up.
I
All
got to
right.
the
I
last
know,
two
right? I didn't
answers
even
and I
get
was
a
like, I
chance
gotta
to.
reread.
It was A.
Oh, okay.
What was
Um,
A? Uh,
it was A.
okay.
Dysfunctional ideas are too absolute and broad, so not necessarily irrational.
Okay.
All right, so Beck's approach could show us cognitive therapy or cognitive behavior therapy on exam questions. Beck, like Adlerians, was a fan of asking clients to engage in Socratic questioning, such as, could I be misinterpreting the situation? Or am I focusing too much on the negative aspects of the relationship? Socratic questioning helps clients challenge the unrealistic thought patterns. So, with REBT, you have the idea that, okay, you have these irrational beliefs, let's challenge it. And with Beck, he's saying, okay, well, the rational beliefs might actually be true, but can we focus on something that's positive?
Mm.
Um, and could you be misinterpreting the situation? Maybe it's not as irrational as you think. So it's similar, but for Beck, it's more so like, oh, well, is it really? Can we focus on something that's not negative? So maybe you lost $100, but you still have like $50 left in an account. So at least you still have some money, but you're not focusing on the fact that you lost that $100.
Right. Okay.
Um, sorry. Okay. All right. So who chose? I chose B, but who else chose B as well? Want to
I
talk about?
did.
Okay. You want to talk about why you chose B?
It was just honestly the process of elimination because we just talked about um Beck. We reviewed over Ellis yesterday. We just talked about Maltzy, and so I was like, the only other answer would be Donald, whatever his last name is. So it was just the process of elimination for me.
Yep, same here. And then um Aaron T. Beck. Um, do you want to talk about why you chose him or what made you think of choosing Beck?
I wrote out Maxie and Albert Ellis, and then I don't know much about Donald. And something said go there, but I said,
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to pick it twice, right?
Yeah, you
I
gotta trust your
understand.
instinct and just
I'm just
go
gonna
with
start going with what I think first, because it's like everything I think first is always.
open the right
Hmm.
one. Yeah, because you start overthinking, and that happens to me from time to time too. So yeah, um, stick with your instinct and just see how it goes. Right.
Gestalt therapy.
Hmm.
Learning.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Anyone get that one? Nope. Yeah, I was kind of. I did Vigo. I was like, oh, video games, and I was like, no, that's not. That's not like a game. That kind of what got me. But choice C, the correct answer may seem to make about as much sense as trying to mix water and oil. Since TA, from a pure standpoint of classification, is a cognitive approach, while Gestalt is experimental. The well-known counselor educator Gerald Corey suggests that this marriage made in therapeutic heaven was actually positive, in as much as Gestalt therapy emphasized. Um, in other words, one emphasized what one was missing. So when you think about Gestalt therapy, does anyone know what Gestalt therapy is?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay. Gestalt therapy is a form of psychotherapy that is centered on increasing a person's awareness, freedom, and self direction. It's a form of therapy that focuses on the present moment rather than the past experience. Gestalt therapy is based on the idea that people are influenced by their present environment. So if you have Eric Benet, who created transactional analysis, the model was popularized in his books. Transactional therapists are most likely to incorporate Gestalt in the treatment because it brings awareness. So when you're like using transactional analysis, what do you guys know about transactional analysis?
I'd have to look it back up to be honest.
Mhm.
Okay, transactional analysis is a psychoanalytic theory, a method of therapy wherein social interactions are analyzed to determine ego state of communicator. So when you think of transactional analysis, it's where you have these social interactions. So if you're saying the model popularized via books, games people play, or what do you say after you say hello? It's about interaction. So
Okay.
transaction analysis, interaction, social interactions, and then you have Gestalt. It's being aware how those interactions, like, how do they impact you? What kind of freedom do you have in the choices when you have these interactions with other people? Like, are you impacted? Do you feel some kind of way? So it's like being aware of how these transactional analysis affect your awareness of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So if we come across anybody like any other theorists, and then if you guys want any clarification, we can note that, and then I can also put that on the slide with more details for you all, and we can talk about it on the next time we like next week.
Oh yeah, if you could, that'll be perfect. I like the how you did the spy. That was really cool.
Oh, okay, okay, I could do that for sure. All right, so I'm gonna put a note here to do um Eric Bernie. Okay, all right, you go to the next one. I think I could be. Did they skip 154?
Oh my
You know
goodness.
what? I should have gone with that first one, but I was just like reactive versus active parent. I was thinking that would have made more sense, but the nurturing parent and the critical parent. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
between the two of those,
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. Do y'all have questions about that? Why that was the answer?
no,
Okay.
it's just picking the correct terms that they use.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like my brain is on overload. I'm sorry, y'all.
All of
No,
our
that's
brains are on
fine.
overload.
Like I'm
Exactly.
just these words. I'm listening to y'all, but it's starting to sound like the Charlie Brown. Sorry.
That's
No, it's
fine.
fine. That's why I say I'll break it down on the
Because I
scale.
had class today, so it's like coming from
Oh
class and
no.
this, it's like, oh my God, my brain is like, can you stop?
What classes are
Oh
you taking?
no.
Well, I'm
Um,
in continuation internship, so I just need to take the test next Wednesday and pass so I can
mm,
graduate.
Well, good luck. That's exciting.
I know,
Oh, my
right?
brain is on over. I just don't want to overload it too much that I don't know nothing because that's why I feel like I'm just.
No, this is just practice. This is all for
Mm-hmm.
fun. This is uh,
Hmm.
practice. That's how I see it. Not to overload, but just to prepare. So,
Right,
Yep. Just like a refresher.
yes.
And then also make sure you take time for yourself too, like in between everything. Don't study too much.
right.
Um, 'Cause then you'll like completely get overwhelmed and drained. So then when you take the test, you'll be so exhausted.
Mhm.
So just make sure you take care of yourself. Do some self care. All right.
This one's kind of tricky. Because I said it too.
Mm, okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
The adult ego processes facts and does not focus on feelings. So if you think about like the id, how the id is like the ego is the front end of of what's acceptable. And the id in the back of the mind is like, oh, I want to do whatever I want. I don't care about the consequences. And it's like, no, we don't care about your feelings. The ego's like, I don't care about your feelings. Like this is what's acceptable. Like this is what we have to do. So when you think of the ego, you think of processes facts and does not focus on feelings, like the fact of reality.
Hmm.
All the above. That one was tricky. I'm thinking like it was like a specific one, but I guess a group of
Right.
the three.
Yeah, because you think about like a kid, just think they know everything. Like they're the little professors. You know,
Hmm.
they're the adopted child. They're the nurture natural child. Like they don't have any kind of idea of who they are. So they're just like all the above because they take on all these roles until
All
they
the, and
all
that's
of
how I was thinking. I said all of them, but then I went with all. I went with my gut this time.
uh-huh.
They do think they know it all. They tell me that
Mhm.
every day.
Hmm.
Yep.
You don't understand.
I
I'm
can't
like,
wait till you
understand
grow up.
what? What is there to understand? What stress are you going through at 7 years old?
Exactly. Hmm.
Be like, come on now. Don't grow up too fast if you're gonna wish you didn't.
Every day, and I'm like,
Every
I
day.
can't wait to move out my house. What you gonna do? Where you going? What
Yeah, my
number you
daughter
got?
said she's gonna ask people for money. I was like, okay, Kayla.
Right?
Good luck with that. But yes, it's all the above.
Should have been a gimme for me.
Mm. Okay. Okay, we all got that right. Anybody want to talk about why they chose that answer?
I was just looking at the parallel piece when it was talking about the healthy communication. They have to be on the same page.
Right.
Mhm.
That's how.
Yep. Parallel. It says choice A is complementary. It's a complementary transaction in which you get an appropriate predicted response. Yep. Transactional analysis. Social communication.
Oh crap! I didn't get a
I
chance.
didn't even pick either. As soon as you said, "Oh crap," I was like, "The time must be up."
He was like, ah, freezing.
So which one would that be?
It was the only
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Place
yeah.
others
So
for misery. Okay. And I
yeah.
was like, I was confused because a person categorized as the I'm okay, you're not okay. I was like, because it's not talking about them being self abusive, and
Right.
it's not engaging in anything self mutilation, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
suggesting
Suicidal.
suicidal. Right. So then I didn't even get a chance to look at that blames others because I was like trying to check my list twice before I picked that one.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I picked that one. I was like, that just seems like it was the right answer because if you're saying I'm okay and you're okay, it's like, but are other people okay? Like, how do you get to tell someone else they're okay? So, but then like you blame them for others for misery that you probably have within yourself while you tell yourself you're okay and you're probably not. So I don't know. That's
Right.
what I was thinking about. Why I chose that answer. Okay.
It's tricky. It's A or shoot, I clicked it too fast. It's A or D.
Oh,
I
Dad,
know.
what is the time?
I know, right? I was just about
It's too
about to
fast. I
pick
was
it.
looking at, yeah, so he's the prosecutor. I mean, the persecutor. And then he's trying to rescue, and then he's trying to play the victim. Yeah.
The
Uh
man has
huh.
moved from the persecutor to the rescuer. Yeah, yep. So he's switching roles. So he does something to initiate the situation, slaps
Right.
her, and then all of a sudden he cries so she can feel bad. Like, oh my God, why are you crying? And then he's like, I don't think I can do it. So then what happens is the wife will be like, oh, never mind, I got it. So it's like he's like switching the roles so he can be the victim so
Mhm.
she can feel bad for him, which is pretty sad. That's definitely manipulation at its best.
Mhm. I'm just gonna hurry and pick something. Okay.
A TA counselor and strict behaviorists are both in the same case conference to a staff. Which technique would two most likely agree on formulating a plan of action? Contracting.
Mm.
Anyone know what contracting is?
No.
Okay. Let's see. Contracting, nevertheless, is the only technique listed used readily by transactional and behavioral therapists. So let's see what that is. Contracting by behavioral therapists. That's deadly right there, yawning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just joking. And transaction. Okay. Rethinking contracts. So I want to know, like, what would they have in common? If we can't find it readily available, I'm gonna highlight that so we can come back to it. Let me see. I'm gonna highlight it, and then we can come back to it next week, so we can get an idea of what they both have in common. See. All right, let's go to the next one. Contracting.
I didn't even select one.
So answer is B. In a first degree game, the harm is minimum, but the level of harm is quite serious in a third degree game.
So what does that third degree game stand? Like, does that mean three people then?
So let me see if it explains. So in the first degree game, the hurt is innocuous. In the second degree game, the hurt is more serious, while in the third degree game, the hurt can be permanent or on occasion deadly. And oh yes, as far as choice D is concerned, some examples will refer to parallel vectors of communication as complementary transactions. Okay, so a game is comprised of transactions. So the key word is transactions. So if you think about first degree minimum, third degree, second degree is a little more serious, and while third degree games can be permanent or deadly. So it's three kinds of degrees when it comes to transactions. And if it's in this put in this kind of wording, like a game, just keep in mind that third degree is the most deadliest, and that can be the most harmful kind of transaction, because anything that leads to death or being seriously, like completely, like permanently injured is severe. Um, and when it says games, I said to prevent true intimacy. So if you're being competitive in this kind of format, like you definitely not going to have any intimacy, and those all those transactions are going to be painful. But it's just determined on how painful the outcome is based on the outcome of the game. So it in this sense it sort of doesn't make sense, but if you look at and remember there's three parts of this in this section, then you'll get an idea of okay, well that might be the best option. Um and sometimes in the I heard about it too, sometimes in the exam it's not worded like this, but I think that for Rosenthal, he's just trying to throw in like a curveball to try to get you to seriously think about it and analyze it, the question. Did anybody have any questions about that? Because I know that was a lot and I know it's late.
I think would this be able talking about you did add the transactional analysis.
Say that again.
Did you add the transactional analysis uh
To
on
the
more
slides.
as the exam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Every time we get something wrong, I usually add it to what we need to talk about on the slides so we can get further clarification. So I highlighted it, but I'm adding everything. All right. Let's see the next question. Chance to pick my thing wasn't. All right. Let's see. Anybody was able to get that right?
So
No.
I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah, me either. Unpleasant feelings after a person creates a game are called a rackets. When a client manipulates others to experience a childhood feeling, the result is called a racket. Um, Note transactional in transactional analysis, the experience of trying to secure feelings is known as well. We're not gonna talk about that. So let's highlight racket because I've never heard of that either.
Right.
Um, and I want to know more about this game. So I'll highlight it. And then we can go to the next one because even though it gives like a long definition, it doesn't exactly tell you how do we get to racket and then what ways does that apply to any theory. Go to the next one.
No, it's not. Oh, well, yeah, a script would just be, but I'm thinking it's like events happening in that life script. It's
Yeah,
just
so
drama or plot.
according to Eric Burney, a life script is actually is a life drama or plot. A script could apply to a family or even a country. The process for writing out the client script is called script analysis. Some popular life script categories include never script or persons who never feel he or she will succeed. The always scripts of individuals who will remain a giveaway. So when you think about a life script, it's actually a life drama or a plot. It's just something that in your life the script's never the same, right? You're gonna have some drama. You're gonna have different parts of your life that can be like I feel like a plot, like things are not going your way, etc. So you think about life script, think about like just a life story of dramas and ups and downs in your life. Um, and that's kind of what I would get from that. But like I said, I'll look into more just to get more definition. Because with transactional and not transactional analysis is more in depth than a lot of the other theories.
Okay.
Um, and that's the one I think is like biggest for me to work on myself.
Well, I'm thinking it's like ongoing, but it's like just a section. It's just like a portion of whatever's happening at that moment.
Yep. Looking at it again. All right.
Talked about what's yesterday. It's going to, mm, it's maybe I've seen this name.
Okay. Anybody get that one right? Okay. We want to talk about their option for Gestalt. Or their other option. Well, that was the only one. Anyone want to talk about what was just Gestalt? Why they chose that one?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go live.
Say that again.
I just guessed.
Oh, okay. So when you think about Frederick, when you think about Fritz Perls, um, and on here it has Frederick S. Perls. He was a creator of Gestalt therapy. So Eric Berney is the creator of transactional analysis. So that's how you would just come to that answer. Um, so you could just like, okay, I know that Eric Benet, if you see him again, you think TA, and Fritz Perls is Gestalt therapy. So, and just to make things less complicated. Any questions about that one?
Also explains the underdog and top dog in there as well, which is helpful.
Oh, okay. You want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
It says all the other concepts apply to the salt therapy. So Pearl saw the top dog as the critical parent portion of the personality, which is very authoritarian. Uh, mm, I cannot talk. Authoritarian and quick to use shoulds and oughts. The
Mm-hmm.
underdog was seen as weak, powerless, passive, and full of excuses. So these splits in the personality would wage civil war within the individual.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
so I was
good.
wondering what those stood for. Now it's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. The critical parent portion, top dog, because of the parent and
Mm-hmm.
the people of the authoritarians. Well, you should do this or you ought to do that. Like when you think about the critical parent telling you should do this or you should do that. And then
Right.
the underdog is seen as weak. It's probably like the child.
Right.
You would think it would be the child because they don't have power, so they would be the underdog. Yeah. Harkuff and Casado.
Mm.
Has anybody heard of them before?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Me either. Anyone want to read? Who has the book? You want to read what the explanation is?
Yeah, I can read it. I have the book. It's the older edition, but I'll still read it.
Okay.
So, in an attempt to isolate the factors associated with positive therapeutic outcomes, counselor educators generally state that the counselor must possess distinct qualities. In the literature, these are known as the core dimensions. According to research by Trucks and Mitchell, an effective counselor is authentic and genuine, not phony, gives positive regard through acceptance, and has accurate, empathetic understanding. As mentioned earlier, the car the Karcuff scale rates the counselor from 1 to 5. The higher the rating, the better the counselor is facilitating client growth. Gosda suggested a global scale for rating helper responses. On the scale, a 1.0 response does not attend to the client's needs. The counselor may discredit or even scold the client. In case I haven't made myself clear, this is a response which is not helpful in any sense. A 2.0 response, although better than a 1.0, is superficial and deals only partially with surface feelings. The 3.0 response does facilitate growth, although a 3.0 response is limited primarily to surface feelings. The counselor does not distort the content in his or her reflections. A 4.0 is evident when the counselor goes beyond reflection and deals with underlying feelings and meaning.
Yeah, that's good because that's like when you do like today I had a check in with my client just to see where we were with therapy and how she was feeling with the effectiveness of my therapeutic approach with her and our relationship. And so it's like you're using a scaling question to determine is the therapeutic relationship effective. So, and are you being like empathetic? Does the client feel understood and heard? So that's right. I like that. All right. Any questions about that or any kind of clarification on that? Okay. All right. And you know what? I've seen NLP before. I think that was in social and cultural. Bandler and Grinder's neuro linguistic programming. It's an acronym. It's the meaning for the acronym. Has anyone seen that word before, like that statement before? Bandler and Grinder's neuro linguistic programming. Okay.
I haven't.
You haven't. Okay. Um, Perhaps the two most popular techniques used by NLP practitioners are reframing and anchoring. When using reframing, the counsel helps the client perceive a given situation in a new light so as to produce a new emotional reaction to it. Um, and anchoring a desirable emotion state is evoked via an outside stimulus such as a touch or a sound or a specific bodily motion. Um, what I want to do is look at exactly what neuro linguistic programming. But if you think of neuro, you think of mind, you think of um how you speak about it, linguistics, and just reframing your thinking. Um, and that's what I had remember from using it from last time. And that's why the word reframing and anchoring. And if you think about anchoring, you're solidifying the new way of thinking. So you're framing your thinking, and then you're anchoring in that reframing so that it can last to replace the old negative thoughts. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. Do we need more clarification about NLP? 'Cause I can go and find some additional information.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't hurt, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. NLP meaning psychology. Okay. Neuro linguistic programming was developed in the 1970s in California and has been practiced ever since. It can help a person overcome a phobia in less than an hour. So let me see what else it says.
That it can help them overcome a phobia in less than an hour with the NLP.
NLP is an approach to communication and personal development that focuses on how individuals organize their thinking, feelings, and language. It is best used to access and treat a variety of clinical symptoms, including depression and anxiety. As a tool in psychology, it was originally developed by Dr. Richard Bandler and John Granger. They observed sessions by psychotherapists such as Fritz Perls, Virginia Satir, and Milton Erickson, identifying common patterns and positive suggestions, which they used to help their clients change. Once they identified these patterns, Bandler and Granger applied them to their own sessions and were able to reduce similar results. This was the start of NLP. NLP analyzes people's subjective experience in detail, creating a receipt to duplicate exact results. So if you just want to go back to the top, NLP is an approach to communication and personal development that focuses on how individuals organize their thinking, feelings, and language. It has been used to assess and treat a variety of clinical symptoms, including depression and anxiety. And it also is used to treat phobias. Um, it's not recognized in mainstream psychology because the research is undeveloped. So that's probably why you didn't hear a lot about it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's a form of CBT.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. All right.
We even had the answer in the word.
Yeah, that's what it says in the explanation. Gestalt therapist is most likely going to deal with a client's projection via, and the answer is playing the projection technique. Projection and projection. Projection is an ego defense mechanism in which you see something in others that you cannot accept about yourself. Gestalt hits the head on the Gestalt hits this head on and playing the projection. The council literally asks you to act like the person you dislike. Hmm, okay. So projection is when you project your fears onto someone else. That's what you think about it like that. Um, does anybody have any questions about that? Or want for further clarification?
Mm-mm.
Say that again. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Oh,
No.
okay. It reminds me of like when my mom used to tell me like, oh, how you when you say something mean to someone, it's how you feel about yourself.
Mm.
That's what that reminds me of. Anybody want to talk about why they chose that one?
Um, you want to focus on what's happening at the moment so that she can figure out why that tingling sensation is happening and to dig a little deeper with that here and now situation.
Correct. And then when a client tries to avoid a feeling, the counselor urges the client to face it or stay with the feeling. Okay. Drop. All right. So whoever picked the choice B, do you want to talk about why you chose that answer?
Why I chose D.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess when it said like you want to exaggerate the experiment, which most closely resembles, I'm thinking just like paraphrasing and just reflecting with more emotion to as to whatever they're talking about at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the direction I was going with that answer.
And then I had chose to answer because it reminded me of the other questions in social and cultural about like the paradox, meaning like the clashing of two ideas or just something that's just out of this world, like a paradox. And that reminded me of an exaggeration, paradoxal. Okay.
Okay,
Anybody want to get any more information about that, or do you want to move to the next question?
we can move on.
Okay.
This one's a little tricky because they don't really go over this information with elementary counselors. I don't know. Change the verb relation to an I statement. Okay. Undergoing a stop therapy stage. It would be difficult to get a job in New York City. It would be asked by the counselor too. I keep thinking praxis, and this is the NCE.
You said you keep thinking about what?
The praxis that I had to take.
Oh,
Yeah.
that could be confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can only imagine. And that the only reason why I was able to remember this because of the last explanation, um, of using the I statements when you say like because we didn't read all of the other ones from the last statement about just thought when we had talked about projection and projections just talks about using I statements. Um, and so when I look at the question here, and none of the other options, because ONET is like careers,
Right.
and reading I've think I've seen it, but maybe not two O's, but it's not relevant here. And then because it doesn't relate to Gestalt, and taking a strong interest inventory, it's not a Gestalt thing.
Yeah,
So
and that I went straight to like career counseling for me. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm just
yeah,
like, wait a minute.
because ONET is a career counseling like option, like when you need help trying to figure out like career.
Mhm.
So that would make complete sense to choose that one. But like when you think about just thought, you'd be like, just thought, does he use that? Like that's what I was trying to think to myself. But that does make sense. I probably would have chose that one if I didn't know about the I statement.
Mhm.
So that makes sense. And I told myself, no, don't choose psychodrama, even though I thought,
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
I didn't pick it, but
Say that again.
I didn't pick psychodrama.
Yeah, I didn't pick it even, but then I was like, I remember seeing that in the previous questions about the drama roles. We talked about that in the previous question. All right, so it is psychodrama, gestalt therapy, a paradigm that focuses on awareness in the here and now, incorporates psychodrama. Let's look at that one. Let's see. Psychodrama incorporates role playing in the treatment process. A client, for example, might act out an especially painful incident in his or her life. Psychodrama was invented by Jacob L. Monrino, who first coined the term group therapy in 1931. Gestalt therapists emphasize experiments and exercises. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that one?
No, it got me.
You said it got you.
It got me. I was really thinking it was like client centered therapy because I'm thinking it's focusing on the here and now, specifically with
Yeah,
the
same
client.
here. Hmm.
Right. Now it's like you got to think of like Gestalt is like role playing, I statements, here and now.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of
Yeah,
add to the whole list of word associations
the
because
start is kicking my butt today.
uh-huh. Then then it comes to like role playing, like the empty chair technique,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that comes to mind now with
Mm-hmm.
Gestalt. Okay. Next question. And then let me know when you guys ready to start because it's 10:30. I know it's late. Ah, retroflexion.
Mm,
You got that one right.
not, not me. That was Peter.
Okay, okay. No, nobody.
Oh,
We all chose the same
yeah, I was
one.
gonna say it wasn't me when you said who got that right.
So, retroflexion is the act of doing yourself what you wish to do to someone else. The psychoanalysts often say that the person who wishes to kill him or herself really wants to kill someone else. True? Perhaps. Statistics now indicate that in the case of suicide, 4 out of every 100 begin with the person killing someone else. Hmm,
That's interesting.
right. It's a lot of retroflexion, projection, I statement, psychodrama. Okay. All right. Any questions about that one?
It's all throwing me on a loop tonight.
Look, look, this just thought
Yeah, this chapter's kicking my butt.
this
Yeah.
chapter is heavy. This chapter is heavy. Transactional analysis and alias. Okay.
Mm, figure out this.
So yeah. I think who else got that right?
But
Yeah. I just figured it wasn't group. And
yeah,
then in the visual activity made no sense.
yeah, in the
And the
dyad.
dyad, I was like, because
Hmm.
it seemed like from all this retroflexion, projection, and all the above, it's
Mm-hmm.
like a person trying to identify the parts of themselves that like is an issue or like that they're having problems with, and that's why they're projecting themselves. So in the book it says, although there is no exact English translation, choice B roughly describes the nature of the concept. Gestalt also can imply that the integrated whole is greater than the sum of parts. Growth takes place when the client has integrated disowned parts of the personality and reconnect with them. Okay.
Um, ladies, I'm I'm overloaded. I'm
Okay. We
overloaded.
can all
That's why I
call it a
said,
night
hey,
so that
let
we can
me
all end
know.
together.
You said I didn't hear you. What did you say?
I said we can all call it a night so we can all end together. So there's like 174 through 199 to complete.
Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I said, let me know whenever you all are ready. All right, so we'll start back over this on Friday. Um, and then we'll finish the rest of the questions, and then we move to the next chapter. And then next week I'll get together the slides so we can review all this stuff
Perfect.
and get more clarity. But thank you both for attending, and I hope you have a good night. And I'll see you on Friday.
See you on Friday.
Thank you
All right,
for
have a
being
good
here.
night.
Bye
All
bye.
right, bye bye. Thank you all for taking part in this late night study session, trying to delve into the last chapter, well, the last 50 questions of counseling and helping relationships. And let me tell you that this one is pretty hefty. So make sure you really understand your theorists. I still have work to do on my part, but that's what the study group is for. So we can identify areas that we need to work in, and then we go ahead and then we focus on those areas. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you this coming Friday. Like I said, we have the groups Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, unless anything changes. But if you like the content, make sure you like and subscribe, and see you on Friday.